Being a creative person, my drive is to create new. And so being tasked with replicating something that I've already done, it really goes against the grain. It really takes a lot of discipline for me to reproduce something I've already created. So when I was in conversation with Daniel Logan, and he suggested making 10 copies instead of just a few. 10 copies. I think it started as 20, but we ended up at 10. And for me to wrap my head around that, or for me to be able to accomplish that task, I would have to rethink my approach to the whole process. So I decided to break everything down into layers, almost like a printing press. I would do a single layer on the first canvas, do that same single layer to the next 10, because my first one was the art print. That was my test one. Once that was good and I was happy with it, I did 10 more just like that. And that's how I approached this whole 10 Darth Vader portrait mountain to climb. It really was having to come up with a way to accomplish this without going crazy. The time-lapse gives a false impression as to the amount of time that this takes to do. In a couple of the time-lapse videos, I managed to include a clock so you can actually see the minute hand kind of whizzing by like a second hand on a clock. And when I watch the playback, I always feel cheated as to how much work I put in. It seems the playback simplifies everything I did and boils it down to this very quick process, and it looks like a almost speed draw, my art. But 1 second of time lapse I think equals 3 minutes of real time. So that's the difference, that's the ratio. And I made a point of including a video which was real time, just to show that I am meticulous about each canvas. it is much harder to reproduce something that looks photographic or that looks realistic on a small canvas. It's much easier to achieve realism or photorealism on larger canvases. So the smaller you go, the harder it is, because it's, you do that one reflection a millimeter to the left or the right, and it throws off Vader's face that everybody is accustomed to, everybody knows. Vader's helmet is probably brain tattooed onto everybody's brain, whether they be a Star Wars fan or not. So if I mess up, everyone will see it. That's the hardest part, is to make these canvases as true to the photograph I am using as reference as possible, yet still make it a piece of art. I still wanted it to feel painted or look painted, and it takes a lot longer than the time lapse implies.